We were all taken to the Oval, weren't we?
Yes.
For the royal visit and lined up. That way on the Oval we were, and the car drove around. And
yeah, we all had to line up and on the showgrounds, and Bunting was out in great force, and we had to wear white shirts and white shorts. And
I was on the Forest Oval when they came through, yeah.
All the people could go in there, and they weren't afraid of any of us shooting or anything like that. And
when we stood there when Queen Lizzie came in, and she drove up and down the rows of kids and waved her. Hi, Queen Lizzie.
And she had a white spotted blue dress on.
I vividly recall it.
an open car with her sitting there waving, wasn't it?
Yes, and I think we lined up in age groups or classes.
We lined up in classes.
And sort of the bigger people held the smaller ones in line, so as we looked orderly and well presented when the royal car came past.
We all had these little flags to wave, but we were suggested that there was either the Australian little flag or the Union Jack, and we were suggested that we get the Union Jack and wave it, not because the bloody Poms, they can't help themselves, you know.
My grandmother's had her house, she was at the house at South Street, which was on the royal route to the showground. And my father brought his truck in and parked it in the side yard next to my grandmother's house, and my grandmother decorated it with flowers, and we were all, I remember being pulled up on the back of the truck, and all the relatives, all my cousins, I've got 32 cousins, and all the aunts and uncles were there waiting to see the Queen, all standing on the back of the truck, I'm sure.
she called in and had lunch at Burgess's place at Tipperary, and we got on the roadside there where she turned to go down there. And that was the polio scare was on then, you know, and it was sad for the Burgesses because they couldn't sit down at the table and have lunch with the Queen.
polio was on, and nobody could shake hands with her. And here's these people that spent their life waiting to be shaking hands with the Queen, and all they could do was bob down or do a plie or something or another.
And the funny thing was, I heard afterwards that, because they brought all the food with them, but they ran out of bread. So that somebody shot into town to the local baker and got some bread.
There's a place out the Perth Road where she had a cup of tea, and that's still been kept there. And
which place is that? Wasn't it Burgess's? Wasn't it Burgess's?
No, I've got an idea she had a cup of tea at Burgess's too, yeah. But the one that on the Perth Road is just near the lakes.
Oh, have they kept the cup?
Yeah.
Unwashed.
Yeah.
I mean, that was something that we did from Bruce Rock. We came down here to see Queen Elizabeth when she came. We weren't supposed to because there was polio and you weren't supposed to travel around. But there was a group of people from Bruce Rock who got in their cars and came to York so that they could see the Queen.
My grandmother was really proud. We had flags. And my great aunt, her sister Louisa, took an opposite position. Louisa owned land that came in from Morris Edwards Drive. She owned all the land from the York turnoff along Morris Edwards Drive into the town. So the Queen had to drive past her farmland, and she instructed the workmen to paint the windmill in the colours of the French flag, because her father was French and she was fiercely defiant, and they painted it in the French flag colours, and she was furious when the paper wrote it up apparently, or it was commented upon, that she'd been loyal to the Queen with the red, white and blue.
Out here at Tipperary, they built a whole new dunny for her because she was meant to stop there and have a cup of tea, an afternoon tea or morning tea, one of the two. So she didn't stop there, so they built a dunny there, and then guys out the other York Road here, they painted a windmill red, white and blue, all the what's names around and the tank and everything, and she didn't go past that either.
Now, along the Northern Road, the Queen was coming down that road with all the motorbikes. I remember the motorbikes, not the Queen. But we were all, my father and his brothers painted the gate royal blue, and we were all sitting on the gate with waving our flags as the Queen came by. Well, that blue gate, they cut across the blue gate, and that today is still known as the gate's not there any longer. I think it should be put back there, but
she was held in high esteem, and you know, there was a lot more royal gazing and royal excitement than there is nowadays. But
no, I think it was exciting. Yeah, I recall it. Yeah, there was a lot of bouncing around and bobbing and weaving.
Well, you were brought up that she was the leading lady, and we accepted that. We didn't know any different, and we all screamed and yelled, and I didn't scream, but I gave her a good wave, you know, in the Royal Australian salute, you know, the Aussie. I didn't yell, I went like that rather than the Australian salute with the flies, yeah. Yes, that was 54.